So I know it's been a little while since I've done a little one of these sit down and talk videos, but that's only because of a few changes in life. Good changes in which I'm going to share with you guys soon, so stay tuned for that. This video is going to be straight to the point with no time wasted, and I'm just going to say that I'm going to break this video into certain categories where I talk about different things. As you guys know, Shina Nova is a very popular Indigenous creator on the internet with nearly 3 million followers on TikTok and nearly 1 million followers on Instagram. Even currently, her followers are growing very rapidly. So she makes content sharing her culture and some of the things that she practices. And as some of you may know, that also includes the animal abuse that her culture, or she supports, I should say. I shouldn't say her culture. I should say that she specifically supports. Now, part of what she likes to do is she tries to use her Indigenous background as an excuse to harm animals, right? But the fact is that she wasn't born under any harsh circumstances. She was born under capitalism. She's lived in a household since she was a child and all of those things. So she's living under capitalism. She has access to grocery stores, but she makes excuses like she can wear earrings made from their fur, and that she can wear products and bags made from their fur because it's justified, right? But see, the real Indigenous who live in cold climates of northern Canada, because she claims to be Inuit, and that's where they mostly thrive, is in cold climates. They may use fur because they are in those cold climates, but she uses it specifically, and it's very clear, because she literally just likes the way it looks, and that is disgusting. And there's a lot of Indigenous who thrive without not even using animal skin for warmth. There's still such thing as other materials that don't involve harming animals, and a lot of Indigenous people have access to that. So they make it seem like that's our target audience. It's really not. But she's using her background as if that's some sort of an excuse for the animal abuse that she's supporting. And it's not. She's not going out there and hunting animals herself. She's paying other people to do it, which is the seal hunt, right? So they basically take some clubs and they go run after some baby seals and they stab them right in the head. And that's what she thinks is justified for her to wear a bag, or for her to wear some fur around her neck, or for her to wear some, fur earrings. So now that we know what she's all about, I wanted to talk about how I got banned from TikTok. So I made some videos about her, as you guys know, and Shina herself actually blocked me. And at this time, she has 2.6 million followers on TikTok. I had less than 1K. So I must have said something that was pretty striking of a nerve for her to block me, knowing that I have less than 1K, but she has 2.6 million followers. And the reason for this is when you see another Indigenous person or another person of color speak up against your self-victimization and trying to use your skin color or your culture as an excuse for animal abuse, and usually when you see a white vegan countering that, they'll say, oh, you're a colonizer or you're a racist. So the reason why she blocked me is because if I'm black, right? And if my ancestors were the ones who were part of the colonized, right? You can't just make a video saying you're a racist or you're a colonizer. So the thing is, when you have another Indigenous person or another black person who speaks up against the nonsense, you have to block them and you have to silence them and you have to suppress them as much as you possibly can, because you cannot get their message out, and you cannot see that this person is trying to promote the idea that just because you're Indigenous or just because you're black, you're automatically going to lack empathy for animals, which is the next thing we're going to get into. Check out this video. This video is basically implying that just because you're Indigenous, it automatically means that you'll lack empathy for animals, or maybe you're a person of color, you'll lack empathy for animals. And I find this to be extremely insulting. So I'm just gonna say it straight up. Shina Nova is a disgrace. She's a complete insult. She's an embarrassment to Indigenous people. And me, with an Indigenous background, of a third world country, she's an embarrassment, straight up. To say that just because someone's Indigenous, that they will lack empathy for animals, you're completely insane. So they try and bring their entire group into it. They try and say, oh, if you're a person of color, you're automatically lack empathy for animals, or if you're indigenous, it means that you're going to abuse animals because you have no other choice. Stop it. Just say that's you. Do not try and say that abusing animals is an indigenous thing. It's a you thing. You abuse animals as an indigenous person who can clearly thrive without abusing animals because you think their skin looks good around your arm, you think it looks good around your neck, and you think it looks good on your earrings. You do that because you're a sick and disgusting person, Shina. And the reason why you blocked me on TikTok and sent a message to TikTok for my account to get deleted, which is probably most likely why I got deleted in the first place, was because I was making videos responding to your nonsense. Don't bring us into that. Don't say that this is something that we approve of. It's something that you approve of. You're that sick person. You're that person who lacks empathy for baby seals who get clubbed in the head just for you to wear a little bracelet around your hand or a little piece of fur around your neck, right? Or maybe some earrings, right? Because that's totally justifies stabbing little babies in the head. Little babies who want to live, they have intelligence like us. They just want to thrive, live out their lives, and they experience joy, happiness, sadness, and they have feelings, they have sentience. You cause them to get stabbed in the head because you think it's your culture. No, it's because you think it looks good on you and you're a sick person. But then you try and twist it and use your culture as an excuse for it and say that this is something that all indigenous people do. It's something that you do, and everyone should know this. There's people of color and there's indigenous people out here who care about animals, who don't lack empathy for animals. And then there's people like Shina, on the other hand, who are sick and disgusting, and they completely have no awareness for any other sentient beings besides their own. And another thing I would like to point out is when you try and say that other people or white people are the colonizers or white vegans are the colonizers, right? It's kind of funny because when you're going in on a seal hunt, right? And you're going onto a seal's land, right? All right, just keep up here. And then you're stabbing them in the head and you're stealing their bodies and using it for your own use, right? So you're going onto their land and murdering them. You're colonizing animals. And that might be a hard concept to realize, but you are colonizing animals. Now, I know some people, their heads are just filled with speciesism, their lives are filled with speciesism. They might say, oh, you can't colonize animals. They're not capable of being colonized. Well, the colonized is colonizing other sentient beings. So in one way, you could just say, hey, that's karma. And that's non-debatable. You can't just say I'm being colonized, but then go and colonize other sentient beings. It doesn't make sense. Now, once again, I'm just gonna make this clear. Under 100% only survival situations. That's not my target audience for this video. I'm talking someone who's rich like Shina, someone who lives in a big city actually, and someone who is living under capitalism, making cash, has access to grocery stores, things like that, has full capability to not abuse animals and be vegan, but she chooses not to. Why? Because she's a sick and disgusting person and she tries to use her culture as an excuse not to. So closing statement on this one is to not be like Shina. Be a good person. Don't support animal abuse if you have the ability. Don't support the abuse of anyone if you have the ability, because that's just the right thing to do. That's the moral baseline, is to be as ethical as you possibly can. And Shina has not made an obligation to do that yet. And until you do, you're going to remain a sick and disgusting person in my eyes and in the eyes of other people. So if you stayed around this long, thanks for watching. Leave a like on the video. Please share. It's important for this information to get out to as much people as possible because we need colored voices speaking against this nonsense. We need other indigenous voices speaking up against this nonsense that, if you're a person of color, you're going to support animal abuse or indigenous and all that. I've already went through it, but please share it. It's very important that this information gets out. And once again, thanks for watching. I appreciate the support from everyone and all the subscribers who have stayed along the way so far. So I'll see you in the next one. I have a live update coming very soon. Stay tuned for that.